Hello again. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome along to day 4, our 4th and final day of our Insider Experts conversations and lunchtime planning sessions. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. I'm really pleased to have you all here again, and really pleased this morning, this lunchtime, to be joined by Ruth Franklin from Secret Paradise Maldives. We'll come over and say hi in a sec. I'm first of all, though, huge apologies from Shiromal in Sri Lanka with Jetwing Hotels. The tech is not our friend this morning. We've done so well. Touch wood, as long as nothing goes wrong with this one. Other than that, it's been seamless this week. But unfortunately, the tech is not allowing her to join for some unbeknown reason. So we will do a Sri Lanka special at some point down the line. But for the moment, there's no bad thing because we can just focus on Sri Lanka and we can just focus on the Maldives, and there's no one better to do that with than Ruth. So hi, Ruth. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Beck. Thank you very much for the invite. Great to be able to chat with you again.
Yeah, definitely. It's lovely. It's been a while, but it's been a good. Yeah, I always like hearing from you and what's going on in the Maldives. So let's get things going. If you've got any questions that you want to know during the talk, please just drop them in the comments, and we'll try and cover as much as we can in about the next sort of 25 minutes or so. So yeah, Ruth, first of all, tell us about your company. What do you do in the Maldives?
Okay, so as people can hear, I'm actually originally from the UK. I did many years in retail, and then through a chance meeting here in the Maldives, I was able to relocate. So my business is Secret Paradise Maldives, and we are an award-winning sustainable and cultural tour company. So in essence, all our guests arrive in the Maldives and are guided through Maldives atolls and islands with one of our local guides. So they get the benefit of experiencing the things the Maldives are renowned for in terms of snorkeling, the reefs, sunset cruises, dolphins, but also have the opportunity to engage with local people, work with NGOs on conservation projects, and really get under the skin of the destination.
That's fabulous. It's brilliant that you're just there on the ground. You know it inside out, don't you? So tell me, I mean, it might seem an obvious question, but I think it's a good place to start. Why is the Maldives such a good holiday destination? What makes it, it's top of the list for so many people. What makes it so special?
I think now particularly there's a diverse range of ways to experience the Maldives. So obviously the luxury resort end and the traditional resort stay is the one that's perhaps most known about. But you've also got local island guest house stays. You can cruise on your private catamaran or on liveaboards or on a group cruise. And you've now got these guided tours that really give you the opportunity to see a different side to the Maldives than perhaps is shown on in the mainline travel industry. But also, if you look at what's available here, it ranges from diving and snorkeling with a host of marine life, from turtles to whale sharks. Getting active with water sports, lots of different water sports to keep families particularly engaged and entertained. Discovering Maldivian culture and traditions, as I mentioned. There are a number of historical sites, if you're located in the right part of the Maldives, that you can visit. Giving back by getting involved in conservation programs. Many resorts, as well as on local islands with NGOs, have these opportunities. Relaxing with spa therapy, I'm sure that's very high on some individuals' lists. And being able to island hop. So whilst perhaps in the past it was deemed that you were a one island and that's where you were for the duration of your holiday, over recent years it has opened up to allow people to island hop across different islands. So quite a diverse range.
Yeah, and so much more than obviously like that image top right we've got with the that incredible desert island beach. Yes, it's that, but there is so much more. It's incredible. Catherine is just asking in the comments, actually, are the Maldives just couples, or can you do it with kids? And if so, like,
for sure,
completely.
For sure.
Yeah, it's all about families today, isn't it? And,
yeah. So for sure, it's no longer just about couples. We have a lot of single solo travellers. We have families, we have groups of friends coming. So I think it is sometimes about how you plan and where you look to stay, and I'll be covering some of that a little bit later on. But yes, the Maldives is definitely not just about couples and honeymoons and celebrity status.
Yeah, you need to be like, I don't know, lying back in a hammock, don't you? You've got to get that picture. So tell us, what, in your opinion, what do you need to know to get the best out of a visit there, of a holiday there?
It's all about the pre-planning, in my opinion, and particularly considering the geographical, logistical side. So, for example, the Maldives is 850 kilometres from north to south. So if you put that into perspective, the UK is around about 970, I think. So if you are on a beach holiday in Cornwall, you wouldn't be planning to go and see the Loch Ness Monster, for example. So the same principle applies here. There are particular areas of the Maldives where something may be located, or it may be seasonal. So it is about going back to the planning stage and getting that right. And then that will ensure that you get the best out of your holiday. So other things to consider would be your budget first and foremost, because there's such a wide range of accommodation options, starting at $50 a night if you're staying in a local guest house, and going up to thousands and thousands of dollars for very plush resorts. So it's about understanding.
I didn't realise that, sorry to interrupt, I just didn't realise that it could be as, you know, cheap as $50 a night. I always assume it's actually sky high. That's great to hear.
And also in terms of $50 a night isn't just about it being a hostel. It isn't about being a backstreet B&B. Yeah. There are actually, whilst there are no standardisation in terms of star rating for local island guest houses, there would be in terms of pockets of a budget guest house, and then a mid-range guest house, and then premium properties. So they do vary across the range, and they offer the facilities and amenities that you would expect for a comfortable stay. So they'll have an ensuite bathroom, they'll have AC, they'll have tea, coffee making facilities. Yeah. So it's not backpacker $50 a night that perhaps you might get in Asia. It is definitely a step up from that level. So considering your budget, as I said, is one thing, but then thinking about the style of island that you want to stay on, and resort islands, as with local islands, all vary in terms of shape, size, and what they offer. So are you looking for a resort stay? Are you looking for a local stay? Do you want something that's modern, a bit more rustic? Do you have a sustainable vibe? So you're eco-conscious? Are you looking for something that's luxury crafted perhaps, or has lots of vegetation? An island that has a social vibe. So it is about thinking, what do you want to get out of your holiday? Do you need specific facilities, particularly if you're traveling with children? So are you looking for a children's club if you've got very young children with you, or a play area? Are you looking to have a swimming pool, as well as the large ocean swimming pool that's around every island? Do you need a dive centre, a gym, a spa? How do you want your meal plan? So very often on resort islands, there's set meal plans. So half board where it's breakfast and dinner, full board where you get breakfast, dinner, and also lunch, and then all-inclusive packages, which if you are staying at a resort, particularly with a family, can be a good way to ensure that you know what your expenditure is before you even hit the Maldives. Think about the style of accommodation you want as well. So do you want to view out on the beach and across the ocean? Do you want to stay in a water villa? Do you want to stay in a beach villa? How large does the room need to be? Do you want the family of 4 to stay in the same room, or you're happy to have adjacent rooms and so on? And then are there specific activities that you want to do? So are you a die-hard diver? Do you want to be able to snorkel the house reef by just walking off the beach? Do you want to see manta rays or whale sharks? Do you want to swim with nurse sharks? Do you want to have particular Instagram pictures because you've seen those online? So it is about really getting down to, what do you want out of your Maldives holiday, from either things that you've read about or seen online, as well as perhaps thinking about your normal family holidays, because the more information that you can provide your travel advisor, your travel agent, tour operator, the better placed they are in order to be able to provide you an itinerary and options that meet your requirements.
So, because when I'm on holiday, I love to be going out to eat in different places and feel like I'm actually eating not just in the place that I'm staying in. And I wouldn't have assumed that was possible in the Maldives, but you're saying, but it totally is if you pick your island right.
Yeah. So in terms of from a resort point of view, when you're on a resort, you are a little bit like a captive audience. So there isn't the flexibility for you to jump on a boat and go off somewhere else unless you're paying for a private boat or you're going on an excursion provided by the resort.
And so those resorts tend to have that whole island, do they?
Yes. So a resort will be one hotel on one island. So some of those will be locally owned, some of them will be international brands, and some will be very natural and still be sort of the old style Maldives that I remember when I first came 20 odd years ago, and some will be more luxury.
Okay.
But when you're on a resort, it's about understanding what do they have to offer. So generally, you'll find that if you're booking a meal plan, that meal plan will be served from the main buffet restaurant, and then different resorts have different number of other food options. So you might have a resort that only has the buffet restaurant. You might have a resort that has the buffet restaurant and perhaps a restaurant that overlooks the water. And then you'll have some of the larger resorts that have a whole range of different restaurants and perhaps restaurants that are specialising in different cuisine. On the other side of the coin, if you're staying on a local island, you've then got the opportunity to go to local cafes, eat at other guest houses and local island hotels. So it isn't necessarily just about that you're going to, as you perhaps thought, in terms of you've got that limited option. There is diversity there, but again, it comes back to the selection of that right island for you.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's really interesting what you were saying as well about how some of the resort islands are still locally owned. So you get that sense that your money is staying within the local economy. How is it easy to tell which one? How do you know when you're choosing, and how do
it's about asking. There's nothing that would actually necessarily flag that, or that for somebody who wasn't familiar with the Maldives would perhaps know. For me, obviously, I know a brand name and I know a company name and I know that they're Maldives based. But don't be afraid to ask questions and get to the bottom of what you want to know. So is it locally owned? Where to find out where your money's going to? Because that is really particularly important. And in terms of within the Maldives itself, over 90% of the tourism revenue will leave the destination because of the fact that it's international businesses here.
Okay, yeah. So no, if you can make sure it ends up in the right pockets.
Absolutely. And I think for me as well, I quite understand that at times people can be a little bit reticent about booking with a local operator. There's probably lots of nasty stories if you dig deep enough online. But if you do your research and go on to, for the Maldives point of view, go on to Visit Maldives and ensure that that business is registered and that they were approved as an operator or as a travel agent, you can get some great deals direct from those people who are in the Maldives. B, as you quite rightly pointed out, you know that your money's staying in the Maldives. And C, you're speaking to people who perhaps know the Maldives inside out.
Yes, definitely, which is why we're speaking to you today. So let's. I know it's hard to choose just a few, but tell me about some of your favourite places to visit. Where's on your go-to list?
Okay. So as I mentioned, having experienced the Maldives for over 20 years, I have seen the Maldives develop as far as tourism's concerned. And for me, the central atolls, which are those that are nearest to Malé, are perhaps the ones that have developed the quickest because of their proximity to the airport. So I would definitely encourage people to look at going a little bit further afield to the deep north or the deep south. In the deep north, for example, a great property for families would be the Barefoot Eco Hotel on Hanimadu, which is a stepping stone between local island guest houses and resorts. So the facility itself and the amenities are very resort style, but you can come out of that and you can explore the local island, engage with the local community, and you can also visit one of the very historical islands called Uthemu, which is close by. So that's it is a domestic flight away, but it is a really good option if you want to have a combination of both worlds, but without having to island hop in order to do that. As a diver, which is what brought me to the Maldives in the first instance, I would be placing myself in South Ari Atoll for whale sharks and manta rays and some really top dive sites, or in the south in Adu, which has some amazing dive sites and also has a real range of biodiversity on the island, as well as some historical points and connections back to the UK from World War II. And then I guess my third area would be the islands of Bar Goidu, which provide a great mix of snorkeling, sandbanks, culture, mangroves and freshwater lakes. And there's 3 islands there where you could actually split your stay quite nicely on 3 different islands, do a little bit of island hopping. And they're still very much what I would term as being off the main tourist beaten track.
That sounds it. Tell me then, what was the name of it again? Sorry.
So Barefoot Eco Hotel in the far north on the island of Hanimadu, Digora, which is in South Ari Atoll, and then Adu, which is an atoll itself, as well as a destination city, and then Bar Goidu, which is on the west side of the archipelago, and it's about 2 hours from Malé by speedboat.
Oh, amazing. I mean, that just sounds absolutely perfect. What a fantastic combination of just activities, that like freshwater lakes as well, and the diving's easy to access and the snorkeling's on tap, and just
and any island you'll be able to access diving and snorkeling by boat trips. If you want to have a house reef that you can access from the beach, then you do need to delve a little bit deeper in terms of selecting the islands to make sure that there is a decent house reef.
What's a house reef?
So a house reef, so each individual island has its own reef that circles around it. And then in the atoll, you've then got another outer reef. So it's a double reef system throughout the Maldives in the 26 atolls that run from north to south. So your house reef is almost where the drop-off is from the shallow lagoon into the deep. So place yourself on there and you've got, you can, in some locations, you could be seeing turtles, manta rays even, as well as sort of reef sharks and a host of marine life.
Oh, amazing. Okay, we've just got a couple of questions coming in as well. Katrina's asking if the Maldives is suitable for babies and toddlers. Do you tend to have many customers bringing their
in terms of definitely, if you stand at the airport and see people coming through arrivals, there are many families with young babies. We have a family actually that arrived today, and their youngest is 6 months. So again, it's not undoable, but it's about ensuring that you're prepared. And I think particularly if you've got very young children, you want to consider the distance from the airport to the island where you're staying, because you perhaps don't want to do your long haul flight to find that you've got another hour's journey on a seaplane or a domestic flight. So again, it's that pre-research and understanding the distance you need to travel for that second stage, because wherever you come from, you're going to land at Malé International Airport, and from there you've got to connect to your island. So that would either be by speedboat, seaplane, or a domestic flight.
Okay. And when we've talked before, actually, you said about staying in Malé, or at least having trying to make sure you have a few hours in Malé at least, because it just sounds fabulous to visit that capital city as well.
Yeah, and I think it's good from a transit night point of view. So it gives you the opportunity to get yourself recovered from a long flight, get yourself sorted, have a good night's sleep, and then move on to your next destination. Or if you're looking at late arrivals into the Maldives or early departures out of the Maldives, a transit night is really useful. And then connecting that with a Malé city tour, just to give you an introduction almost to the destination, so that you start your holiday with an understanding of the history and the geography, a little bit about the culture, and meeting some people that sort of sets the scene for the rest of your stay.
Yeah, definitely. Katrina was also asking about is it possible to do a multi-centre holiday across the Maldives, or sort of take out a boat, do a boat holiday with a skipper on board? Is that possible?
It's not impossible. Some of it will come down to what your budget is, Katrina, but it's definitely not impossible. And certainly if you look at combining a local island with a resort, or a local island and a boat, that really helps stretch your budget. So again, the costliest part is this whole transfer process. So you may find if you're looking particularly online at OTAs like booking.com and Agoda, you may find a really great price for a property at a luxury resort, and then you find another one and you think, yes, I'm going to combine, but they don't always, well, 100% they won't have the transfer in there. So you've then got to add on that transfer cost. And a great tip is also to ensure that the local tax is included. So local tax that is applied to everything that we purchase and travellers will need to purchase is a 10% service charge, 12% GST, and then $6 a night green tax if you're staying on a resort, and $3 a night green tax if you're staying on a local island. So quite often you have to look at the small print to ensure that that's actually shown or within that published price.
And those transfer providers, are they just private operators generally that are running, say, speedboats between different atolls or
generally? No, then it'll generally, from a resort point of view, the resort will control the transfer and will organise the transfer for you. So you can't just rock up at the airport and go, right, I'm going to such and such hotel and I need a speedboat. So they are generally scheduled, or they will be arranged as near as possible to meet people's flight timings. And likewise with domestic flights and seaplane flights, they too are scheduled and they'll be arranged by the resort. From a local island point of view, they will be local operators, and that's one of the benefits of local island tourism, that has given people the opportunity to have other businesses and other employment. So businesses such as transfer providers, laundry providers, cafes, souvenirs, all of these type of businesses are pretty new. So local island tourism is just over 10 years old. So it's still a very much a developing side of the tourism industry here in the Maldives.
Great to support it if you can. Lucy is asking about boat trips. How do we know that boat trips are being ethical with the wildlife that they're going to see, and what do you need to look out for when you're choosing a provider?
Again, it comes down to research. So checking online to see what they say on their website. Do they talk about all the good stuff that they're doing? Do they promote it through their social media posts and blogs? And then again, asking the question. So particularly on resort islands, probably because when you're on a resort, it is only those providers on the resort island where you can take the activities and excursions. There's probably less of a requirement, and they're far more aware. But if you're traveling on a local island, ask the question, find out what they're doing. How big are the groups that they take with them? Do they feed the marine life? Look at their social media. Are there instances where you can see people are getting a bit too close to marine life or touching it, for example? Unfortunately, there are areas of the Maldives that have some way to go in terms of the protection of the marine life. And there's work in place currently through the Environmental Protection Agency to start getting better controls into places in order to ensure that those experiences are safe and sustainable, both for the tourist and also for the marine life encounters themselves.
Oh, good. So there's no accreditation or anything as yet that people need to look out for. It's just a case of just
no, there isn't, unless they're accredited by an international body.
Okay, fine. Yeah, no, okay. Okay, Catherine is asking what to pack. She's heard that, you know, some places do you need to be covered up, or is it actually quite relaxed and informal, or do we need to get dressed up? What needs to be in the suitcase to make sure you're comfortable and everything?
Very little, I would suggest. I'm sure, like everybody, even myself, you will always pack way too much. In terms of if you're on a resort island, there are no restrictions to dress, apart from there's no topless sunbathing and no nudity. Dependent on the resort that you've booked, you may find that some resorts will have more dressy restaurants for you to go to, and you may need some sandals or flip-flops to wear. But a lot of resorts are barefoot, and it's all very casual, and very few with actual dress restrictions where you have got to dress for dinner. So even from a guy's point of view, chino shorts or chinos and a linen shirt, for example. On local islands, there is a requirement that you do need to consider the local community. So it's about dressing with modesty when you're within the local community itself. But because we're 10 years on as far as local tourism is concerned, locals are far more tolerant. And I think it's down to us as the guests and the tourists to ensure that, we respect the requirements. So every local island in the main has a tourist bikini beach where swimwear and bikinis are fine to wear, but they'll also have public beaches where the community will go swimming, and in those areas you'd want to ensure that you're covered up with a t-shirts and short to be able to go in the water. So carry a sarong with you so that you can cover your shoulders up, or wrap around your waist and so on. So from my point of view, it's about just considering how you respect the local community when you visit, but someone's not going to come along and shout you out because you aren't dressed appropriately. And then in terms of what to pack, t-shirts, shorts, sundresses and skirts, bikinis, swimwear, flip-flops, and very little. If you are susceptible to insect bites, then perhaps long sleeve linen trousers and tops for the evening, but the evenings don't get cold. So the average temperature here ranges between 30 to 32 degrees and really only feels chilly if we get a breeze and rain is due. So you don't need your winter woolies and your big coats.
Okay. Actually, that someone was asking earlier, Claire was asking earlier, what to expect weather-wise in July and August, sort of tying in with school holidays. What's it typically like then?
I think, like many places in the world, the weather pattern is changing. So it's far harder to predict what it's going to be like. And also the weather can be very different in one location of the Maldives as it can in another. Instances where I'm based in the capital on Malé, and it can be raining here, but 3 kilometers away in Malé, it could still be beautiful sunshine. So the low season, which historically would be May through to September, would be the period of time where we would expect more rain. So not that it rains every day, it's not monsoon rain, but it would mean that we would get higher precipitation levels during that period of time. So you can expect, perhaps a heavy downpour in the morning or late afternoon, and perhaps a little bit more unsettled weather and with a breeze, which is quite nice sometimes because it's so hot. But you would be really, really unlucky to arrive and have wall-to-wall UK rain and grey skies. But the one key thing to remember as well is because we're practically on the equator, that even when it's cloudy, you're going to sunburn. So it's good to pack lots of sunscreen, perhaps more than you would pack for a normal European sun holiday.
Okay, great to know. Lindsay Barrowman was asking earlier as well about vaccines, not COVID vaccines, but what vaccines do you need to have to enter?
There isn't actually from a Maldives point of view, specific vaccines to have, other than if you have been in a country where yellow fever is prevalent. But in terms of, I would always recommend referring to the UK government website for their advice. But in terms of sort of typhoid, tetanus, the standard vaccines that you would have to travel in any destination. Every resort island will have its own medical centre and a doctor or nurse. And then looking at local islands, they'll have their own health clinics, and every atoll will have a regional health centre or hospital. So you're never too far away from medical support services.
Okay, great to know. All right. Just got time for one last question. Natalie's just put in the comments about Upatu and asking which animals are you likely to see there in the summer?
If you head to Bar Atoll, there is an area called Hanifaru Bay, and we get loads and loads of manta rays between May, the season's just going to start, through to the end of September, early October, and also whale sharks. So if you're after manta rays in particular, that's a really good location. But generally, wherever you are in the Maldives, you will see turtles, you will see reef sharks, you will see stingrays, you will see eels, you will see a multitude of marine life. It's really about if you have a specific big marine item that you want to tick off the list. So whale sharks, manta rays, tiger sharks, hammerheads, nurse sharks, where there are specific areas of the Maldives to head to. Okay, and that's where your knowledge comes in. Thank you. Okay, brilliant. We should probably wrap things up there because but I feel like we could talk all afternoon. But yeah, thank you so much. 5 minutes since we started talking. So you put together an itinerary for us, which will be in the Holiday Insiders Club, and hopefully we will do more and more and more, because there's so much wonderful, there's just so much to explore, so much more than I think many of us realise. And also you've very kindly provided us with one of our prizes for the photo challenge that we've been running this week. So we'll be announcing the winners to the photo challenge tomorrow morning at 11:30. And if you're one of the lucky winners, you could be winning 3 nights in the Maldives with Ruth. So that is not personally with me. I won't be joining you on the holiday.
You what? Sorry.
I said not personally with me. I won't be joining you.
I know, and I'm coming along as well. And yeah. But yes, so thank you. Your knowledge is first rate. Thank you, it's brilliant. And so thank you everyone for watching and tuning in and all your comments and things. It's brilliant to see. So yeah, I hope this has been useful, and it'll be available on replay as well if you want to go back and get some more notes and things. But yeah, Ruth will be in the club, I'll be in the club as well, and yeah, I better wrap things up really, stop rambling on. Thank you, Ruth, for your time, and thanks everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning for prizes. 11:30 tomorrow morning, prizes.